Arjun is with us now on this story. So many ways we could take this story, Arjun, but let's focus on what you think is the key reason that they are doing this and doing it now.
I think Alibaba's grown into such a giant, so many different, disparate business areas, cloud computing, logistics, a movie business even, and of course their core e-commerce business. And there's been criticism that they've sort of just got too big and lost that nimbleness and agility that they had in the early days of the company that have allowed them to grow into such a big giant at this point. And I think what they're looking to do now is spin out these businesses, try to create a structure where they can raise capital, they can really invest in some of these what are very capital intensive areas with the hope of finding some growth and eventually sort of becoming their own big businesses as well. That seems to be at this point the rationale behind it.
I love a good conspiracy theory, and on the face of it there shouldn't be any connection between Jack Ma turning up in China and this announcement happening, but do you think there is? I mean, you know how it is with China. You think it's one thing, but it's quite often another.
Yeah, I think the broader story here, and I think why there was so much excitement around the Alibaba share price, was not necessarily this announcement itself, but what we may be able to read into it as to what Beijing and the central government's view might be towards the domestic tech sector. We know for about 2 years there's been intense regulation, intense scrutiny, and this could be a sign that actually Beijing is warming back up to these domestic tech giants. Look, I suspect Alibaba would have got some form of green light to be able to announce this, or at least, at the very least, felt comfortable enough to be able to come out with such a significant announcement, which does talk about expansion of business and expansion of capital, which is something the government was concerned about. So clearly here, I think the reading really is, perhaps we may see not so much a rollback of regulation, but perhaps less enforcement, less aggression from the regulators in China towards tech.